First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Tsongkhong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dupten Daji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, Vajravarahi Doche Pamo. Simu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here and over the webcast, and all participating VIPs are the accountant to Tribhuda School, Dharma Sister Teresa and her husband, and from Taiwan National Cheng Kung University EE Department, Professor Wang Li, Dr. Ryan Zhuang, and Dr. Zhou. The producers for the Geni Tiansang Shinten from CTI TV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi, and from Malaysia, the entrepreneur Datuk Kenneth Loy, Datin, and their daughter Lei Qian. Good afternoon, everybody. How do you do? Today we perform Vajravarahi, and in Tibet she is an important Buddha mother. In Tibet, all the living Buddhas are mostly men, and there was only one temple in Tibet that has a female living Buddha, and that living Buddha was a reincarnation of Vajravarahi. From Australia, Peter, where are you? Peter from Australia, standing in the middle there. So he visited that female living Buddha's temple, and he showed her my picture, and she said she recognized this Grandmaster Lu. So there are only very few living Buddhas or Rinpoches that don't recognize me these days. So she is the only female Rinpoche in Tibet, and she is an emanation of Doche Pamo, the incarnation Doche Pamo. And the rest are all male Rinpoches. But True Buddha School is a very popular, and so big and small Rinpoches know about True Buddha School. And the Venerable Mang Liao Ming represented Nyingma School. Why? Because the first Rinpoche that went to China to spread Buddha Dharma was born in Xikang, which is in the northeastern region of China, was Master Nona. Where is Xikang is an area in Qinghai near Tibet, not in the northeastern. So Master Nona from Xikang went to the Middle Kingdom, and the person accompanying him spreading Buddha Dharma was the Venerable Mang Liao Ming. So the Venerable Mang Liao Ming had learned the Dharma practices of Nyingma school from Master Nona. And the Venerable Liao Ming taught Master Nona about the Vajra or Diamond Sutra. So the Venerable Mang Liao Ming had studied with Master Nona. And lastly, Master Nona invited the Gongka Rinpoche to go to the Middle Kingdom to spread Buddha Dharma. So Master Nona and Gongka Rinpoche of the Kagyu school spread to China. In Taiwan, there was the Gongka elder, Seng Su-ren, studied Kagyupa and took refuge in the Gongka Rinpoche, and then also in Karmapa. And he's called the Elder Gongka, Sen Su-wen, by the name of Sen Su-wen, that at the Gongka Center in Taipei. So that's the lineage. So Grandmaster's lineage includes Venerable Mang Liao Ming. And lastly, Master Tupten Dorji, that belongs to the yellow sect, Kagyupa. And during the Qing dynasty, there was a Rinpoche that was doing translation from the Tibetan sutras. And his name was Tupten Nima of Kagyupa. And Tupten Nima transmitted Dharma to Tupten Tali. And Tupten Tali transmitted Dharma to Tupten Dorji, who transmitted Dharma to Tupten Chimo. And Grandmaster is Tupten Chimo. This is the lineage in the yellow sect. The red sect we already have. And then the Sakya sect is from the Sakya temple in Green Lake. I met Master Sakya Zengkong, which is His Eminence the Zhong Rinpoche, and I took refuge in him. So that's why I hold the Sakya lineage. And then red, yellow, white, and Sakya. And for the white sect, or Kagyupa, I went to New York with Huang Caochu, a person, Huang Caochu. In upstate New York, there is a place that's called the Trikaya Dharma Chakra Center in Woodstock, upstate New York, established by His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and I took refuge in him over there. So this is the lineage of the Kagyupa. And the crown that I'm wearing today belongs to the white sect Kagyupa. So this kind of Dharma crowns are worn in the Kagyu sect. Wi-Fi. So Vajravarahi is for the inner fire meditation, because Vajravarahi is fire. Then why is she called Haimu? Haimu in Chinese meaning the soul head, because next to her head is a head of a soul or pig. Because in Chinese, the word or the character hai, which is the radical, like to the character of a child, represents a pig or a soul. Because she is a really magnificent young girl, and she's holding Kachanka, which is the same as Padmasambhava, and in her hand she's holding a Kapala, and over here is a Kachanka on the left side, and she's naked, and she's all red, representing fire. When a yogi is practicing the tumo or inner fire, we need to visualize her. In our body, there's the generation palace. And most importantly is at the forefinger width below the navel is called the generation palace. And it is triangular. And at the center, Dorje Parmo is standing over there. So if you practice inner fire, you have to visualize Vajravarahi standing at the center of the triangle. And then the short A, or half of the A character, then you visualize to become Vajravarahi, which ignite the inner fire. So eyes like this, and then you place it upside down. It looks like a fire or flame of the fire. And that flame is Vajravarahi. So Vajravarahi helps you to ignite your inner fire. So everyone practicing inner fire has to say this, invoking Vajravarahi to enter into the generation palace, standing there, and then it becomes the flame that is in the shape of the short ah syllable. And someone asked me, how do we ignite the inner fire? We need very important key formulas. And this key formula has to be transmitted by Grandmaster in order for the disciples to know. Is it good for me to transmit it today? Well, then you should not spread it if I tell you today. Otherwise, X would know. Because she claimed that she had ignited her inner fire. But to ignite the inner fire, you need to use this key formula that has to be taught. When you practice the treasure-based yoga until you see smoke appearing, and you sense that there's smoke inside your body, according to logic, then when you see smoke, you know there's fire. And because you have seen smoke, then I will teach you the formula, because that formula is extremely important. Milarepa used the 6 posture mudra. So the 2 legs cross, like when you're holding your pea, and to form 6 triangles. So when you cross your legs, there are 4 triangles, and then the arms are embracing the legs to become 6 triangles. That's called the Liu Zhao Yin in Chinese. So like the 6 triangle mudra. So when you cross your legs, you form 4 triangles, and you need to sit on a higher cushion, slightly higher cushion. Cross your legs, 4 triangles, and then you embrace your legs with your arms, and you form 6 triangles. And then you pull your legs to be as close as possible to the navel. So you need to practice inner fire in this position. And what's one important thing is you need the Zen belt. So you need to tie the belt around the place of the inner fire very tightly. And I will not tell you now how to tie it. Otherwise, X would know and would say something that she ignited her inner fire this way. Other than this key formula about the 6 triangle mudra and also the way to tie the belt. And Master Lianing told me there's no need for the Zen belt anymore these days. You use one thing, just to bind it together, to tighten it, because you need to push it, to press it, and you need to really push it in order for the fire to ignite. When you breathe in, it's very tight. And then you use the fierce breathing. So when you're about to die, it's almost similar to this, and then you die. So you breathe in and out very fast and fiercely, strongly, and then you use that power to ignite it. You use your mind power, the red fire, bright, hot, and red. So there is 3 conditions together. Like today, if you want to ignite a fire, we can use a magnifier and a piece of paper and to focus the sun rays onto a point. And then when the focus is on the paper, then it would be ignited. That's physics. You ignite fire using the magnifier. And the way to ignite the inner fire is the combination of physics, chemistry, and the power of the mind to ignite the inner fire. That's about the formulas. Those were the formulas that I talk about. I just talk about one word. So it's like binding. Or to bunch it, to bind. Why in Tantric Buddhism, all the Tantric statues have slim waist, like the waist of Vajrasattva, of Manjushri, Bodhisattva. They all have very slim waist. Slim waist. It's easier to practice in a fire when you have a slim waist. So, Vajravarahi is a very important deity for the inner fire Tummo practice. In order to practice inner fire, you need to receive empowerment or homa and empowerment, and you need to pray to her, and you need to visualize her at the center of your triangular generation palace. This triangle is at the forefinger width below your navel. So inside, underneath the central channel. So when we do the Treasure Vase Yoga, we breathe in both left and right channels, and at the generation palace, you hold your breath, and above, you push it on the generation palace, and then you lift up your anus. So you lift up your lower chi, you push down your upper chi, and then the treasure vase is at the generation palace. And then you hold your breath as long as you can, until you cannot hold your breath anymore. And then you let the chi to hit the top of your head, and then come down and then exhale. But if you practice it well, then the chi can be expelled through the skin pores. So that's how treasure vase is. That you use the upper chi push down and the lower chi to push up and to make a treasure vase, and to keep it as long as you can. Because if you can keep it long, then the chi can enter the central channel. Once it enters into the central channel, then the convenient chi becomes the wisdom chi. In order to open the central channel, you have to rely on the chi of the treasure vase, and then to open all the central channels. This is a way, a method of spiritual cultivation. For the inner fire practice, you have to rely on Vajravarahi standing on the triangular generation palace. And then you use treasure vase chi to enter, and then you use the fast and fierce breathing like a pump. It's very tight. And then visualize a red, bright, and hot fire. And with the bang, it is ignited. Her sixth syllable is bang. Bang. So with this explanation, you understand pretty much. So that's why I asked you to practice treasure vase yoga first. Because without it, it would be impossible for you to keep the chi for a long time. And then your central channel is not open and flowing. So first you have to open the central channel before you practice inner fire. And before that, before the central channel and the inner fire, it's best to practice non-leaking dharma. Because all comes from the merging of the water and fire. and from the seeds. And during the offerings, there were seeds being offered, because only by having seeds then it would sprout. Without, if you want to sprout the seed, once it sprouts, then it becomes inner fire. And what is the seeds? That's your hormone. That's the light drops inside your body. Of course, there are lots of hormone. In each of our organs, there are hormones. In the brain, there's also hormone called the body chakra. In the throat, there's a hormone, which is the saliva. In pancreas, there's a hormone called the insulin. When you can't generate any more insulin, then you are diabetic. And then there's also secretion inside the stomach. That's also a kind of hormone. All the secretion and moisturizer all over your body is hormone. Like if your knees deteriorate or age, and there's no moistening between the bones, and that moisturizer is hormone, which is light drops. When you're old and the light drops decrease, and then with the rubbing, then you have pain in your knees. Many elderlies have pains in their knees. Why? Because you're old and you have no more hormones, no more secretions or moisturizers inside the joint. So your body is about 70%, not 90, 70% is water. So if you're dehydrated, then you would become very small. So when you have a body sarira, you're only this tall because the water has evaporated. So it's like a dried human. Dried is like dried fruit. This is a dried human lubricant for the knees. So when the fruit is dehydrated, then becomes dried fruit. And the humans dehydrated is only this big. And then if you add water to it, then it would become as big as a human being. So our bodies have 70% water. Especially the water is here at the brow point, body chakra, and fire is at the generation palace. And then you move the inner fire gradually all the way to the brow, and then you dissolve the body chakra to become liquid, and then it merges with the fire. And then reaching the 5 chakras, opening the 5 chakras in order to have the lucid clarity, the clear light to appear. So the 3 treasures in Mahayana is body, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And the 3 treasures in Tantrayana is the chi, channels, and light drops. These are the 3 treasures in Tantrayana, which is the methods of inner tantric practices. If you can open the brow chakra, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the navel chakra, and then the secret chakra or the generation chakra opened, only this time you would have great transcendent power. So anyone any one chakra opens, then you would have a transcendent power. Without having them open, then everything is illusory. So your supernatural power is not true, it's not authentic, it's not real. It's just illusory. You have to have the chakras open in order to have transcendent or true transcendent power. Or if you would be able to see the spirits, the yin and yang eyes, or be able to hear, to see, or the soul travel, and then the complete exhaustion transcendental power. So, or knowing your karma, present, future, and past life, knowing what other people are thinking, traveling, knowing your lives. 5 kinds of transcendent powers. Without the 5 chakras open, they are not real. They are just superficial. It's not something real that you gain through inner tantric practices. Oh, there's an announcement. Next Sunday, October 8th at 3 p.m., there would be the Amogapasa Homa fire offering ceremony. Amogapasa Guan Yin. This Guan Yin is very special. What is the Amogapasa, which means non-empty? Which means whatever you ask will be given. So you would return non-empty. So next Sunday, October 8th at 3, Amogapasa Guan Yin. The Guan Yin with non-empty lasso. There is a patriarch in Tantayana that's called Amuga, and Subhaslapsa Singha, and then Amuga, San Uwe, one more, Amaga, and Vajrabodhi. These were the 3 patriarchs that went to China, and they were called the 3 founders, the 3 great master founders, talking about non-empty or Amuga. Amuga, Subhaslapsa and Vajrabodhi. Today we will talk about the 3 continua. The continuum of the causal potential. There is no need to use the continuum. Causal potential, bodily method, resultant Mahamudra. Causal potential, bodily methods, resultant Mahamudra, with 3 meanings. These are the 3 continua. The continuum of the causal potential, the continuum of the bodily methods, and the continuum of the resultant Mahamudra. If I don't explain it, then you would not understand what is the causal potential is. It talks about overall meaning, the branches, and and in the overall meaning there are the 7 different kinds. And about the altar, how to receive the empowerments, purine, purine. These are all just the titles.
在提到里面的，现教是万法摄于一，摄于自心相系无间之故，显示三系之道。
Instructions on concentrating everything on the tight continuum of this mind, described as the path of the three continua. So actually, this is talking about that everything comes from the mind. So everything comes from your own mind. So in your spiritual cultivation, because you utilize your own mind to continually practice, and then would generate three kinds of powers that are continual. The first one is having the power to bear the fruit of a Vajradhara, like a seed that can sprout. So today we burn seeds, and we wish that the seeds can sprout. So when I'm teaching Buddha Dharma, it's the same as giving you the seed. And we plant the seed inside or on the field of your mind. And when the seed starts to sprout, it grows to become a tree and to bear flowers, from branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. They all will grow from it. And that's the continuum to Buddhahood. So seed is a kind of cause. So we live in America now. And at the earliest time, of course, there is no Buddha Dharma in America. And then later on, there are many Tibetan Rinpoches spreading Buddha Dharma in America, or the Mahayana masters coming here to spread Buddha Dharma. But before that, there were no Buddhism here. So when these people come, they are spreading the seeds. So by hearing the Buddha Dharma, you generate faith. And that's like sprouting. And the seed will be able to grow to become a tree that bears fruits. So what is the cause? Yes, the causal potential is like the power to bear the fruit of a Vajradhara, like a seed that can sprout. So the cause is the seed. So Grandmaster spreading the seeds. But if you don't practice, it's as if the seeds are sprayed on the concrete ground. To sow the seeds like on the concrete, then you will not bear the fruit of Vajradhara, because every being has the Buddha nature. And then if you sow a seed on the Buddha nature, one day he or she will become a Buddha. So that's what it means. So the power to bear the fruit of a Vajradhara. And the second continuum of the bodily methods is the power that is embedded in the causal ground becomes mature through the practice of the body, like adding water and nutrients to the seed. So you use your body that has the seed inside it to become Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
用身体的方便去成就活菩萨，
So to use
就是密教本
the
身就利
body
用你
as
自
a
己的身体
convenient
去成就佛菩
method
萨。
to attain
但是这个
Buddhahood
身
and
体如果
Bodhisattva.
残缺的话，那就很
But
难。
if your body is
什么残缺啊？
handicapped, then it would be
他是
difficult.
瞎子，
What kind of handicap? Like
他是
the
耳聋，
blind or
他听不到，
deaf
你没有
and
办法给
could
他
not hear,
播种。
then it's not
他是
possible
瞎子，
to sow
他看不
the
到，
seed. He's blind,
他
he
没有办
cannot
法
see.
观想。像你们可以观想啊，
He
像
could not
阴阳派
visualize.
你们可以观想它。拿着
Like
嘎
you
巴拉，
can visualize
这个拿着
Vajravarahi
这个
holding a
卡萨
kapala and
嘎巴拉，
kachanka.
这样，你们可以看得到，看不到呢，用形容呢，瞎子摸象那就很难。
So, but if you can't see it
还
and
有
yet
阴阳人，
from description it would be difficult.
你看过阴阳人吗？
And then
当然大家都知道那个去新加坡，我第一次去
what's that
新加坡的时候去旅行，去阿
transvestite.
瓜街啊，阿
Transvestite.
瓜，像阿瓜你知啊？啊，阿瓜街啊。
Transvestite.
他说，那明明是男的，但是就是你
Like
你
in
的身
Singapore, you see
男的
many of them.
阴阳人
He's a male, but he shows like
还
the
有
body
天
of a
生的
woman,
阴
so
阳
it
人，
would be difficult
不
to
是后天
practice.
人工制
And
造的
then
阴阳人，
transvestite,
先天的阴阳人
that's not
啊，师尊也看过。
created by human being, but
抱小孩子
born
来给我
as a
看，我一看，
transvestite.
天哪，我从来没有看过这个。
And Grandmaster has seen it.
他把小孩子的裤
Because
脱下来，
It's a
脱
baby
下来给我看。
that
我
was
一看
brought
天哪，
for me to see,
原来也有
and
鸟，
they took the
然后
pants
也有
off,
鲍鱼。
and the bird and the abalone are there.
它居然里面居然有
So
鲍
it's
鱼
like
跟鸟
Male and
在
female
一起的人呢，那
together.
么就是阴阳人，那也很难修。
So a person with
为什么
both？
因为
male
他
and
在事
female
业手印上，他没有办法应用。
So that would be very difficult for those kind of people to
按
practice
照师
because
父教
they
的
will
道理，
not
我
be
是这
able
样
to
子讲，
use the
是跟
karma
大家这
mudra.
样讲啊，就
So
是以
that's
身
according
体
to
的
my
方便，
guru's teaching.
继续用水
So
回和合之言，
using
生气
the
要能够
body
成
as a
熟，
convenient
有因
method
位的能力。
to practice.
还
Like
另外
adding
还有
water
一
and
种
nutrients to the seed. This is the
他没有
power
手跟脚，
embedded in the causal
也很
ground.
难修，
And also a
没有
type
手，
of people without
没有脚，
limbs.
没有手你
No
就不能结
arms,
手
no
印啊，
legs. Without arms, you cannot form
没有脚
mudras.
你就不能用六
Without
照印啊。
legs, you cannot form the six triangle mudra.
所以对身印上面它也很麻烦，所
So
以你四肢
the
不健
bodily
全
mudra would be
也很
difficult.
难修行。
So if
所
you
以必
miss
须要有
any
正
limbs,
常
that
的一
would
个
be
人，
difficult to
他
cultivate
本身有
spiritually.
修行的能
So
力
you
的
need to
人，
be normal
这个叫做身方便。
to have the potential to cultivate spiritually, and this is called the bodily methods.
4:22了，
4:22
非常快，
time
哎
flies.
来不及讲叉叉了。
No time to talk about X.
我今天早上看了一篇文章
This
叉叉的文
morning
章
I read an article
是他跟
of X
跟猫讲话，跟
about
猫讲
X
话的文章，
having a dialogue with the cat. With the cat.
就暂时不讲了，以后再讲。他
I
跟
will
猫讲
not
话，
talk about it today.
这个猫的主
She
人
was
抱着
talking to
猫
a cat,
跟他讲话，
and the owner of the cat was carrying the cat, talking to
啊
her.
那他就是解释这个猫在讲什么，讲给他听。
And she was telling the owner what the cat was saying.
不是这样的，
And the
不
owner
是这
kept
样
saying,
不
no,
会
no,
的
no,
不是
no,
这样
no, that's not the case.
但是他继续
It
讲
wouldn't be
他
like that.
那主人一直
But
讲
she
说
kept
不会的
talking
不会
about
的
it.
不是这样子，就是这样。
That's all.
甲跟乙在餐厅喝酒聊天。
A and B
甲说
are
经
drinking
济
in the
如果再不
restaurant
景气，养
and
家糊
chatting.
口都很难。
If the economy
乙就
doesn't
问
get
他
better,
你有
it'll
几
be
个小孩？
hard to raise a
甲说
family.
5个。
And A asks B, how many children do you have? 5.
乙就讲说5个确实不好养。
It's hard to
甲
raise
回
5
答
children.
孩子的问题是小
And
烦
he
恼
said,，
那
raising
孩子
children
的
is a
5
small
个妈妈
case.
才烦恼。
But their 5 mothers is quite
孩
troublesome.
子的5个妈妈才烦恼。大家不要笑说他有5个老婆，他有5个老婆，每一个老婆生一个孩子。
So he has
我告
5
诉你，
wives.
我祖父有6个老婆。
And my grandfather had 6 wives.
哎，我想想我的祖父，再
Thinking
想想
about my grandpa
觉得自己
and
很
then
悲哀。
comparing to myself, I feel really sorry.
因为你知道吗？
Because you know,
洗一个已经很受不了。
I can't bear having one.
不能这样子讲，不能这样
I can't
这
say
样
this.
讲，回去
No,
会有
no.
问题。
Otherwise, I would be in trouble when I get
洗
home.
一个，它
One
已经是
is
等于
already like
千万个。
thousands
他
of
的
them.
能力啊，像千手千眼观世音菩萨
呃
那样子，非常有 power 的。
Capabilities are very powerful, like the 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arms, Guan Yin
所以真
Bodhisattva.
正能够娶到像师母这样子，非
If
常
you
有
can
能力的，
get someone like
有
Simu
power 的人，
for a wife
真的是
with
非
great
常幸
power,
福。
it's really very fortunate.
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
啊，妈妈问小明，
Mom
今天考试
asked
考得如何？
Xiaoming,
小明说，
how
只
did
会
your
3
exam
个
go?
填充题。妈妈
And he
说，说来
replied,
听听，
I
哪3
only
题？
knew 3.
Xiaoming
Fill
就
in the answer.
第
What are
一个
they?
填充是班级，你是哪一班？你的
Class,
姓名是什么？
name,
你的学号是什么？
and
学
the
生号码，我们写
student ID number.
学号填学号，填姓名，
Student ID
填班级
number,
他
name,
就会
and
就
class.
这3个。
That's all he could.
他妈妈就讲说，他妈妈。
And his mom would say, that's a curse word in Chinese.
哎，这个也是佛法，
This is also
人
Buddha
多
Dharma.
少要有点智慧。我常常讲哦，
As a human being, we have to have at
张
least
开
some
你们
wisdom.
智慧的眼睛，
I always say,
看着
open your wisdom
哪一个
eyes.
上师在占地盘，
Observe which
哪一个
master
上师在捞钱，
is
哪一个上师是地盘。
holding on the territory,
张开你的
scraping
智慧
money,
的眼睛看，
and
我
losing
不是讲
lineage.
了吗？这是
So
3
open
题
your eyes and
3个
observe.
题目啊，
3.
讲了多少
Points
遍你们都。
And I have repeated many,
听不
many,
懂吗？
many times. And you
如
still
果你们
don't
很多人
understand.
问我啊，像那个
Many
古
people
云
ask
就问
me,
我
like
师尊
Gu Yin,
你为什么不早说
Grandmaster, why didn't you say earlier?
啊？很多人跟我讲，师尊，
Many people
你害我
told me,
们，你为什么不早讲？
Grandmaster, you have harmed
很
me,
多人问我，
harm
师
us.
尊，你为什么
Why
不早
didn't you
给
say
他
earlier?
给他发掘出来？
Why didn't you
我有讲
expose
啊，
her much earlier?
不
I
是没
did.
有讲啊，
I did.
我讲的就是这3题呀，
You know, I have mentioned these 3
是
points. I
谁
have
在占地
warned you
盘？你看
who
哪一个上
is
师在占地盘？
expanding territories.
是哪一个上师他在捞钱？
Who is getting money?
是哪一个上师失去传承？
Who is
你自己想
losing
想
the
看
lineage?
他搞他自
Which
己的，
master? Think about it.
他管你什么根本上师？他完
She
全
is
搞自己的，这搞得莫
Doing
名其妙。
things on her own without
你想
lineage
对不
to
对？
guru
他做什么也
as
不让你
as
知
she
道。
likes. and she never let you know
养那
what she's
5个
doing.
鬼领袖也不让你知道啊，对不
She's
对？
worshipping
他也不让你知
the
道啊。
ghost
他
leaders
在
and didn't
桃
let
园观
you
音乡
know.
盖2栋这个
And at the Guanyin
楼房
village in Taoyuan,
他也不让
China,
你知道啊，我也没
she
有去
built
过啊，
2
他也没有讲
buildings,
过啊，
and she never mentioned it.
他从来没有保
I've
护报告
never
的，
visited it either. I've never
他
been
是
there.
你的啊，
She never reported
什
her
么时候他
Dharma
讲过？
work.
他
She
房子
did
盖
her own
盖好多久
things.
了，我都不知道。
I don't know how long she has built that either.
所以想，你想想，他根
So
本就
think
没有
about
传
it.
承了，
She has no
而且
lineage
很早
whatsoever
以前就没有。
from long ago.
啊，我那时候我有一次我叫这个连凯法师
One
啊
time,
出来当上师，
I asked Reverend Lian Kai
他出来当上师，
to become a Vaja master.
他回
I
答我
found
的
him
第
to
一句
be
话是什
okay.
么话？
And you know what his reply was?
我要请问我的上司。
I want to ask my master first.
那这样子，我把连凯看成什么？
Then how would I treat Lian
他根
Kai?
本就不是我的弟子啊！
Then he's not my disciple.
师父讲的话你也不听，
You don't listen
然
to
后
your
那位
guru's
叉
words.
叉更妙，
And that
居然
axe
对跟连凯
was
讲
even
你
worse.
时候未到，
And she told Lian
根
Kai
本上师
that your
这
time is not here yet.
师父啊，
So
五
who
十
is
颂
the
不是写得很
Guru?
清楚吗？
So it's been written in the 50 stanzas of
无
Guru
子不
devotions.
应做，师尊有了旨意下去，
So
你
if
就
there
要
is
到
a
跟上
command
师的
from the
旨意
lineage
去
root
做，
guru,
而
you
且
have
努力去完成。
to follow it and
无子
work
不应
very
做，
hard
我没有
to
旨意
make it
你去
happen.
做了，
But and then
你
if
就
you
不
do
是
it
皈依嘛，对不对？很简单啊。
without
你就
the
早就
guru's
去传承
direction, then you don't have
对
the
不对？有什么好讲
a
的？
single
你根本就没有
minded
传承。
refuge. Then
说
you
我
have
跟
no
大家
lineage,
讲，
right?
注
Very
意
simple.
哪一个上师
So
实际
that
传
means
承
you have lost your
注
lineage.
意
So
哪
I've
一个
told
上师
you,
在
pay
捞钱，
attention. Who has lost the
注意
lineage? Who
哪一个上
kept
师在
getting
占
money
地
or
占地
trying
盘？
to
我有没有讲过？
get money from people, and
有讲
who
过，早就告诉
is
你了，你自己不听
expanding
的。
territories? Have I said this? Yes, long ago, many times, and you
我
didn't
没有
listen.
讲，很早就讲了。
Of course, I have said it. Of course, I have warned you.
这里有个笑话，所谓软男的
There's this joke.
定义，他只温软你一个人，对别人冷若冰霜，这个才是软。
Warm. What?
软，如果温软一大堆的人，那个
You
就
warm
叫
only
中
one
央空
person.
调。
Oh, you only warm a single person, and you're very
这就
cold
是
toward
中央
others.
空调。
Yeah, but if you warm everybody, then you're like a central heating. Like Grandmaster
这
is a
佛法
central
本来就是
heating.
要传播出去。
Because Buddha Dharma should be widely spread.
老婆问先生，
The wife
为
asked
什么
the
我每
husband,
次穿什么你都说很美呢？
why do you always say
这个先生呢，顿了一
whatever
下
I
就
wear is
他是
beautiful?
因为
And the
如果
husband
说不好看，
stopped
你就会去
for a
买
bit
新的。
and then said, because if I said it doesn't look beautiful, then you will buy new ones.
啊，我要讲我们初步的 school
I want
这
to
个中国
say
秘法非常的好，
that true Buddha Tantra, true Buddha Tantric Dharma of true Buddha school is extremely
而且很
wonderful
完全，很完全
and
啊！你
complete.
不用到别家去买。
There's no need for you to go to other
真的
places.
中国秘法，我这样子讲已经很透彻了。
And my teachings are very thorough and clear.
这是陈传芳讲过的笑话。
This is a joke that have been told by
已
Linda.
婚的男士千万别买新的 iPad， 因为
A married man, please don't buy the
当
new
你睡
iPad
着的时
X
候啊，
because
你老
when you
婆
fall
查你的
asleep,
手机，只要对着你脸一扫，
in order for
她
your
就开
wife
锁了，
to check on
什么
your
都藏不
phone,
住。
then she would
而
just
你想
face
查
it
老
to your
婆的手
face
机
and
啊
then you see
根本
everything.
就没有办法。
But it will be
因为老婆
impossible
只
for
要一
you
睡
to
觉，她
check
都
your
卸
wife's
妆。
phone, because when she sleeps, she would be without any cosmetics.
所以这事情呢、我告诉
Without
你，
any makeup.
事情有真有假。
So there are
事实上要
true
分辨，
things
就是
and
要
there are fake
要你自己
things.
能够分辨。
So you need to be able to
今
discern
天教
them
大家
yourself.
就是要分辨，
So
要
I'm
有智
teaching
慧
you
的眼
to
睛，
discern,
哪
to
一
be
个是真
wise,
实的上
to
师，
have wisdom eyes.
哪一个是假的
Which
上师，
master
你要分
is
辨得出
a
来。
real master and which master
你
is a
分
fake
辨一个善
master.
一个恶，你也要分辨出来，因为
You
很
need
多
to
的
be
伪
able to
装，
discern the good and
很
the
多是假
bad,
的。
because there are many fake ones. There are
表面
many
上他讲，他
scums.
是讲了一套很慈悲的话语，
On the surface, she says some
暗中他做的
kind
又是
and
另外一种。
compassionate things, but
你根本不知道。
secretly what she does is a different thing.
但是莲花童子唯一的条件，
But the only pre-qualification to be a
就是
Padma
真实。
Kumara is the
一定要真实。
authenticity, the truthfulness. It has to be truthful.
你失去了这个真日，你就不是
Without the
莲花童子，
truthfulness, you're not a Padma Kumara.
你根本就是假的莲花童子。
You're
不是真实
definitely a
的
fake one.
一
You're
定要
a
真
fake。Padma Kumara.
第一个，
Because you have to be
莲花童子
truthful and authentic.
它纯真；
Because the
纯真。
lotus youth or Padma Kumara is
第二
innocent
个，
and pure. Second,
无邪，无邪，天真啊，天真无邪，他天真，很天真，很无邪。
innocent and naive. Innocent.
第三个，
And third,
他是很热情。第四个
warm-hearted,，
他是游戏，
playfulness.
游戏。第五个，
And fifth,
生活简单，没有那么复杂，生
simple.
活很简单，
Simple
他的
lives.
生活很简单，
Very
你都可以
simple.
知道他在过什么样子的生活。
You know how they
生活
live their
简单。
lives. They live
游
a
戏
simple life,
人间是一种游戏。
playful, and
再来呢，
the human life
就是他
or
本身
human world
天
is
真
like a
无
kind of
邪，
game of playful
他非常
play,
的热情，
and
他非常的
innocent,
真实，是
warm-hearted,
莲花童
and
子的条
very
件。
earnest,
你具有这样
sincere,
子的
truthful.
条件，你就是莲花童子。
Those five are the qualifications to be a Padma Kumara. If you have these qualifications, then you are a Padma Kumara.
那些假的不算的，那些假的，
And the fake
那
ones
个假的，
are not.
像那个古云讲的，他修行了3000万
Are
年，
not Padma
他已经
Kumaras.
修行了3000
Like what
万
Gu
年。
Yin said, that she's been practicing for 30
真的假的
million
我
years.
你们自己想，
Well, of
萤
course.
火虫已经
I
等
don't
他
know.
11万
Think
年
about it yourself.
，11万年，萤火虫等他，
That
等
the
他11万年
fireflies have been waiting for
要求
her
他来超度。
for 110,000 years, waiting for
那
her
一
to Bardu
昨天
deliver
讲的
them.
那一只喇嘛，
And what we talked about last night about the
3000
Lama
年的弟子，
was
3000
a
年的弟子，
disciple
比释迦
of
牟尼还早。
3,000 years, even earlier than
萤火
Sakyamuni
虫
Buddha.
11万年就知道怎么叫做超度。
And fireflies 110,000 years ago already knew about Bardu deliverance. How
你
could
用智
you
慧想一
how
想，
could you
用
listen
你
to
的
those
智
kind
慧
of
眼
words?
去看去观察，
Think about it. Use your wisdom.
都是假的。
Pay attention. Observe.
我以
Those
前很
who
会抓
are
苍蝇哦，
fake.
我告诉你，我要抓苍蝇很容易。
I
苍蝇停在这里，
I could catch
我要抓
flies
它。
very easily.
我手比这样
If a fly
很远
there,
比这样。
I would place my hand like this in a distance.
我如果手一动，它会飞起来，
When I
飞
move
起
my
来
hand,
差不多
it
飞到
would
这个高
fly.
度，那我就抓这个高
So,
度，
so I know she would fly when I
我就
move
抓
my
到苍
hand,
蝇，
and she would fly this high, and I would
然
catch
后我
it.
等下念。嗡声减透，悄
And then I
声
would
出
say
口，南无阿弥陀佛，啾。它的
Leave
戏啊
behind suffering,
苍蝇
gaining
的戏啊，
happiness.
我超度了它。
really born into the Pure Land, Namo Amitabha, and then I brought to deliverance the fly. So that's the story of a fly.
这是他写的一只苍蝇的故事。
So this is the story of a fly that she wrote. So it's easy for me to catch a fly. I can catch fly really well. I know how to do the measurement, the survey. Like when I move my hand, it would start to fly. Then I would catch it. The story of a fly. That the fly flies for days and nights without rest to come here to be bardu delivered by me. There was a bat flying here, right? And then when I started giving Dharma teaching, it doesn't fly anymore. But it flew when I was performing Koma. You know where it came from? It flew from the huge black cave in Malaysia. And then it flew and got tired and then told the next generation, you have to continue to fly to America, the Rainbow Temple there, and their Master Lu is performing Koma there. So the son was flying and flying, and then give birth to the next son, and instructed the little bat, granddad to dad, dad to the son, son to the grandson, to the great-grandson. Instructed like that, generation after generation for 500 years. And eventually they got to the Homa Hall of the Rainbow Temple, and then through the fire offering, and with the bardu deliverance, it doesn't appear anymore. So now you can write a story like that. The bat that flew from the black hole from Malaysia for 500 years and eventually arrived at the Homa Hall at the Rainbow Temple and received bardu deliverance from Grandmaster Lu. Talking with that.
非常感谢根本传承上师宝贵的法